Norse mythology is not just a collection of Viking adventure stories. It is the mythic world of the North Germanic peoples, shaped by Old Norse religion and remembered long after Scandinavia became Christian. These stories describe gods, giants, heroes, humans, monsters, sacred trees, doomed battles, and a universe that is always close to collapse. What makes Norse mythology so powerful is that its gods are not safe, perfect, or untouched by fate. They struggle. They make bargains. They seek knowledge. They fight enemies who are sometimes also their relatives. And hanging over everything is the knowledge that even divine power cannot stop the final crisis. This mythology gives us a world where courage matters precisely because the ending is uncertain, dangerous, and often tragic. The stories we call Norse mythology come from many sources, not from one single book. Some survive in medieval manuscripts written down after the pagan period. Others are reflected in archaeological images, carved stones, place names, poetry, and later folk traditions. This matters because the mythology we have is a preserved remnant of a much older living belief system. It grew from Proto-Germanic folklore and connects to wider patterns found across ancient Indo-European myth. By the time scholars began studying these texts seriously in Europe from the 17th century onward, the myths had already passed through centuries of memory and interpretation. So Norse mythology is both ancient and layered, a mixture of old religious imagination, poetic storytelling, heroic tradition, and later preservation. At the center of the Norse cosmos stands Yggdrasil, the great sacred tree. Around it are the 9 worlds, the realms where gods, humans, giants, the dead, and other beings exist. This image is one of the most important ideas in the mythology, because it shows reality as connected rather than separate. The worlds are not isolated planets floating independently. They are bound into one cosmic structure, supported by a living tree. A danger in one realm can affect another. The gods must defend order, but that order is never permanent. Yggdrasil suggests a universe that is alive, vast, and vulnerable. It holds everything together, yet it also stands under pressure, just as the Norse world itself is always balanced between creation and destruction. The Norse creation story begins with a primal being named Ymir. In one version of the myth, the world is formed from Ymir's body. His flesh becomes the earth, his blood becomes the seas, his bones become mountains, and his skull becomes the sky. This is a striking image because creation is not peaceful or abstract. The world is built from the body of an ancient being, through transformation and violence. It means the material world itself carries the memory of conflict. Mountains, oceans, and sky are not neutral scenery, they are the remains of a primordial power. This gives Norse mythology a physical, almost brutal sense of creation. The ordered world is real and sacred, but it comes from something older, dangerous, and defeated. Humanity enters this world through the figures of Ask and Embla, the first 2 humans. Their story places human life inside a cosmos that already contains gods, giants, and powerful forces. Humans are important, but they are not the center of existence. They live within a larger order they did not create and cannot fully control. That idea helps explain the serious tone of many Norse myths. Life is meaningful, but it is exposed to danger. Humans depend on divine order, natural cycles, memory, kinship, and courage. In this mythology, dignity does not come from escaping fate. It comes from acting well inside a world where fate is real. The first humans are not masters of the cosmos, they are participants in it. The gods of Norse mythology are vivid because they are powerful without being perfect. Odin, often shown with ravens, is associated with wisdom, war, poetry, death, and hidden knowledge. He is not simply a calm ruler. He is restless and willing to sacrifice comfort for insight. Thor, the thunder god, represents strength, protection, and direct confrontation with destructive forces. His hammer is not just a weapon, it is a symbol of defense against chaos. Freyja brings another layer, connected with love, beauty, fertility, magic, and forms of power that are not limited to battle. These gods feel memorable because they combine cosmic importance with personality. They can be wise, fierce, flawed, clever, reckless, or vulnerable, and that makes their stories dramatic rather than distant. A key part of Norse mythology is the relationship between the gods and the jötnar, often translated as giants. But thinking of the jötnar only as oversized monsters misses the point. They may be enemies of the gods, but they can also be family members, lovers, spouses, sources of wisdom, or necessary rivals. The conflict is not a simple battle of good against evil. It is a struggle between order and the forces that challenge order, and those forces are often deeply connected to the gods themselves. The jötnar represent wilderness, danger, age, strangeness, and cosmic opposition. They are threatening because they stand near the boundaries of divine control, but they are also essential to the mythic world. This blurred boundary between enemy and family gives Norse mythology much of its depth. The gods do not live in a clean moral universe where every ally is pure and every opponent is evil. Instead, relationships are tangled. A being can be dangerous and wise at the same time. A rival can also be a relative. A threat can reveal something the gods need to know. This creates a mythology built on tension rather than simple certainty. Order must be defended, but it is never separate from chaos. The divine world is constantly negotiating with the forces that could destroy it. That makes the myths feel psychologically realistic. Power does not remove conflict. In Norse mythology, power attracts conflict and carries a price. Even time and nature are treated as living parts of the cosmos. The article notes that units of time and elements of cosmology can be personified as deities or beings. This means the Norse universe is not mechanical in the modern sense. Days, cycles, seasons, celestial patterns, and cosmic events are woven into story. Reality has personality. The sky, the sea, the earth, and the passage of time are part of a meaningful order. But this order is not stable forever. The myths repeatedly show that existence is temporary, even for the gods. This gives Norse mythology its distinctive mood, a mixture of wonder, fatalism, beauty, and threat. The world is alive, but because it is alive, it can also suffer, weaken, and die. The great endpoint of this mythic universe is Ragnarök. It is the foretold catastrophe in which the gods and their enemies meet in an immense battle. The world is overwhelmed by violence and fire. What makes Ragnarök especially powerful is that it is not just a random apocalypse. It is the consequence of tensions that have been present all along: gods against giants, order against chaos, fate against resistance, kinship against betrayal. The gods know that doom is coming, yet they still take their places in the struggle. That is why Ragnarök is not only about destruction. It is about courage under unavoidable loss. The gods are heroic not because they cannot die, but because they face death anyway. After Ragnarök, the mythology does something surprising. The world does not simply vanish into nothing. It is reborn. The land becomes fertile and green again. Surviving gods meet in the renewed world, and two humans live on to repopulate the earth. This changes the emotional meaning of the entire mythic cycle. Destruction is real, devastating, and unavoidable, but it is not the final word. Norse mythology does not offer easy comfort. It does not say that loss can be prevented or that the old world can remain unchanged forever. Instead, it offers a harder kind of hope: life can return after fire, memory can survive catastrophe, and renewal can rise from the ruins of a broken age. That cycle of doom and renewal helps explain why Norse mythology still feels relevant. In the modern period, romantic interest and the Viking revival brought these myths back into popular imagination. Today they appear in books, films, games, comics, television, music, and even modern religious movements such as Germanic neopaganism. But beneath the modern imagery of helmets, hammers, and battle scenes is a deeper system of ideas. Norse mythology asks how people should live when even the strongest powers are temporary. It asks what wisdom costs, why order is fragile, and whether courage matters when fate cannot be avoided. Its answer is severe but memorable. The world may burn, the gods may fall, but meaning is found in how one stands before the end. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.